Hello friends, this demo recording adventure is really exciting, especially if you have a very nice demo recorded and at the end, no audio. So, so why this demo? Usually resource governance policies are defined with a huge buffer in mind. Till now, it was not easy to set up monitoring of memory usage process-based against to the defined limits of the resource governance policy. Of course, you can set up process-based perf counters, but not easy to maintain. Fabric Observer does it automatically for you. Fabric Observer also allows you to get a notification when your service uses a certain percentage of the governance resource. So telemetry, the telemetry we get by this feature allows us also to see the average usage. So let's start optimizing your resource governance policies and don't waste money by idling hardware resources. So first of all, let's run a script to set up all the Azure artifacts. I prepared one script which does everything. It's in my repository on GitHub. I'll link as soon as YouTube allows me to do that. Will link the repository in the description. For now, we just need to download this repository. Oh, okay. I still have it, of course, but I want to show you that I'm not faking it. So it's really so great, cool. So then let's go to the script. I have to adjust 4 parameters. No. I need a new keyboard. Space test is defect. So we need 4. We want to insert our subscription ID in case you have multiple subscription IDs. Then we defining RDP user, and but we don't use RDP. It's also blocked, and we also need a password for the certificate. So I'm doing that. Closing this. Opening PowerShell and trying to start the script. Right. So then we should get a login. Here we go. Password. Phone authentication. That's a funny error message I haven't seen. Cool. We can ignore it. It still works. Cool. I love error messages, especially if for the last, let's say, 30 executions of this script, I haven't seen this, but whatever. Maybe I have changed something last night. So this script creates a cluster and does 2 app deployments, but it does also a lot more, so we will go into that deeper in a second. First of all, I just have, so why I wanted to start with a clean clone is that this whole machine is a simple Hyper-V Windows 11 dev environment image created by the quick create function. The only thing I have installed is the AZ PowerShell module to do all the Azure deployments. And also I installed the Service Fabric SDK to build the apps. And it is a Windows 11 dev environment. It comes with some pre-installations like the Visual Studio, or of course also the .NET Core framework, so we don't need to install that. That's all what you need to build the apps and deploy this whole thing, hopefully. So at least for my tests, but you never know. So should be pretty safe. So let's jump into the PowerShell script, which we're actually running right now. So it already does the cluster deployment. So it usually takes 15-20 minutes, but I also have seen 30 minutes, so it depends. So let's go into the PowerShell script. Here we go. This is a certificate which we created. So this PowerShell script does a login. So first of all, I'm just going through the script. I don't want to explain everything, but I want to highlight some details. But you're completely free to just skip to the end where I show the demos. There are also some screenshots in the repository, and of course, without watching the video, you can definitely just clone the repository and just build it on your own, and then just build things, template things, things in the apps, and just deployment. This script should be very helpful and just still have this automated deployments experience. So you don't. It's pretty much generic, so you don't need to go into too deep into the script. It should still work very well. Yeah. Okay, so let's go briefly through the PowerShell scripts, and then let's go through the ARM templates so that you know what we are deploying. And then after that, I hope it's demo time, and then we will just showcase the scenario. Okay, resource group deployment, Azure Key Vault deployment. We're creating a self-signed certificate. We uploading this self-signed certificate as a secret, to Azure Key Vault. We import the certificate to authenticate against Service Fabric Explorer, and then we inject the reference information from the Key Vault for the secret in our ARM template. So then from the output of the ARM template, I'm extracting the application insights connection string and inject that to the settings XML from Fabric Observer, so that Fabric Observer sends all the telemetry to the application insight instance. That's the dynamic variable, so I was not able to set up it before the script. And then I'm downloading the NuGet exe to restore one particular package, which is the MS build for Service Fabric. That is what we need. And then I stated earlier we have .NET on the machine. I just do a .NET publish. You might ask why I'm using debug. I figured my telemetry data is showing up faster in application insights if I'm using the debug mode. Don't ask me why, I will figure it out, but you can totally also using the release mode. It's just for the demo purpose at this point. Okay, then I'm compressing, let me minimize that a little bit. I'm compressing the release folder and then creating a one SFPKG file. That is what we need for the ARM application resource deployment. I'm doing exactly the same for the demo app, which I called Memory Eater, because we just increase the memory usage and to get the warning and to create an out-of-memory exception to showcase the resource governance policy. So then I need to upload those packages, so I created another Azure Storage, a container, upload the blob content, and then I'm getting a SAS token so that this blob is not accessible to everyone, and also that the Service Fabric resource provider can download my package and deploy it to the cluster. So then I'm injecting the URL for this blob into another Azure Resource Group deployment, and I'm doing it for the Memory Eater, and I'm doing it for the Public Observer, right? So then, for convenient reason, I've just print out some URLs which I I don't really need. But okay, we will see. So, um, so what one do I want to show you next? I believe the ARM template. So you can also open all this in Visual Studio. So the ARM template basically, yeah, I just want to highlight some stuff. It's basically a production-ready template. There are much more complex templates possible, but this should be the minimum because everything below, I wouldn't test it personally because there are unexpected behavior. D is at least different than on your production system, so this would be the minimal recommended configuration for your cluster. Right. So I'm using a resource prefix, which is nothing else than a deployment unique deployment ID. It just makes sure that I could, in theory and also practically, I could just hit the deployment button, the script, run the script every minute, and it would just create a deployment every minute. With this deployment ID as a prefix, I just make sure that fixed URLs, which have to be unique in Azure, are not blocked by my deployment. So every deployment gets a unique ID. So that's all. Then I'm using the newest possible API versions for the resource provider to get all the good new features. I'm using the minimal recommended VM SKU. So this is a D2 V3. I'm defining a custom port for my memory eater demo app, which is 8081. I want to access it from the outside. I'm using the Windows Server 2022 Data Center Edition. I'm using durability level silver to make sure that no platform update is interrupting my demo. Of course, there can be always something unexpected. We in Azure do thousands of updates daily, and of course, there can be also a hardware issue. But for my demo, I don't really need it. But for a production scenario, you want to have graceful shutdowns. So in case of a platform update, like there's a software update or whatever it is, that we have a communication channel to the cluster to make sure that we only take one node down at a time, and we also allow graceful shutdowns. So the reliability level silver is basically just saying we have 5 sleep nodes to make sure that we we protect the ring. Then I go down application insight instance storage for diagnostic data and for service fabric. Then I have the NSG. So this follows the best practices. 9080 is open to access the Service Fabric Explorer. Then I close the RDP. It's not allowed. Then I have this custom endpoint 8081. VNet, subnet, public IP address is using the standard SKU. Much better architecture, much faster if you want to change something. A load balancer. Hey, I think this template has 900 lines. If you want something smaller, then use Service Fabric managed clusters. I think they only have 250. And Bicep, I don't know right now, actually. Okay, so virtual machine scale set. Here we go. I disabled automatic OS image upgrades. Don't need that for my demo, but it would be the recommended way to install Windows patches. I'm using managed disk. It's not officially supported to deallocate VMs, but for a demo you totally can do it. Like if you want to prepare your environment the day before your demo and then deallocate for cost reasons, no problem. Definitely works for demos. Then I use diagnostic extensions just to copy the ETW data, mostly service fabric events in this case. Yeah, I haven't configured the. Oh, here we go. Event log. Okay, cool. To the storage account, then the anti-malware is very important. All the exclusions, otherwise you get weird effects. And then we disable Windows configuration automatic updates. You don't want this uncontrolled in-VM Windows updates because it can bring down your whole cluster or unexpected VM shutdowns. Definitely. Data disk cluster configuration. Node type. Yeah, and my output. Okay, here we go. So really briefly, let's take a quick look into. Okay, it's deploying already the memory eater. Yeah, well, okay. So we have a little bit of time, so it needs still to deploy the Fabric Observer. So I want to show you quickly the ARM template and then the changes I needed to do for Fabric Observer to enable the scenario. So first of all, deployment. It's ARM application resource deployment. So basically we just need to provide the cluster name, the application type version, and the package location, so the URL from the storage account. And then we basically just define application types, versions, services, application services, so and then yeah, providing some parameters. So here's already, so that is for the ARM application resource template, and then for Fabric Observer I'm already using here in this template the option to define a parameter. What I do here is I enable the new feature of monitoring resource governance limits. That is what we need. This is a config. That is a parameter which are also able to. You're also able to upgrade that via a quick config only upgrade without any long-running upgrade processes. Okay, so then let me show you what I changed for Fabric Observer. So basically, I went to the settings XML. I enabled telemetry, I enabled application insights, enabled telemetry provider. Right, the two implementations, Log Analytics and Application Insights. And I'm also, I showed you from the PowerShell script that I auto-injected the connection string for Application Insights. That is this one here. So then I went to the App Observer config. I changed the default percentage warning value to 60%. Normally it's 90 if you don't define anything. I wanted to have it a little bit more clear for the demo. You can also do that for every single app. Like if you have a hot pass, like something which really gets all the traffic and it's super important for you, it's business critical, then you might want to define something specific. So then I went to the application manifest, and oh no, I defined that I enabled the resource governance monitoring already in the ARM template. Okay, good. Then one last thing, I want to show you the Azure resource governance policy for my custom app. And for that we go into the application manifest. So you see the service manifest import from memory eater demo pkg, and you see a policy here, and you see a resource governance policy with memory and DB defined 1024. So that basically makes sure that the runtime is not allowing this app, this process to use more than 1 GB of RAM. Okay, that's from my side about the content. Alright, let's see. Okay, Fabric Observer is already in progress. We can prepare. So let's go to the Azure portal. We can prepare the demo time. There we go. So we see all the resources here. We want to go to the cluster. So 5 nodes, 1 application. We go to the cluster. Of course, it's a self-signed, so it's not CA validated. 9050 is my certificate. Here we go. Looks all green. My cluster, 5 nodes. Let's increase the refresh rate. Let's go to the apps. We see 1 instance from my memory eater, and Fabric Observer still needs some minutes, but that's fine. I can show you already the memory dashboard, 8081. Here we go. So this is nice to see for demo purposes. And my API was add string, I believe, and I think I need something like 10,000 or so. So executing this 2 times, and we see a memory increase. So we can also bring that. Let's wait till Fabric Observer is completely installed. I hope it takes not too long. So just quickly from the repository, there's a cheat sheet. The text file has more information, but there's also a quick one in the README. All what you need, there's a quick design diagram. Not sure if you need that, but looks good. And some screenshots so that you get an idea what this demo contains. So the dashboard I just showed you, the warning we will see in a second, and the telemetry data including the query. Nothing fancy, but just to make it easier. So that looks very good. Let's go back to the let's do this. It needs a second normally. Okay, that's fine. Here we go. Still needs a second. So the next step would be to increase the memory usage over 600. As you remember, my notification, the percentage value I defined in Fabric Observer is 60%. So we have resource governance policy with 1 GB. So if I'm going over 600, I should get the warning, right? So we might want to do that. And Fabric Observer is checking my memory usage every 30 seconds. So I'm clicking sometimes here, just increase that. So I'm just using static strings, so the garbage collector cannot clean it up. Okay, one more. I think now we should be over 600. Let's see if Fabric Observer still needs. Okay. Last time I was just under 20 minutes. This time we started at 1950. Short. Okay, a little bit more this time. There we go. That looks good. So if Fabric Observer comes alive, then we should see a certificate warning because it's going to expire in 32 days. That's great. We can never have enough certificate expiration warnings. It's dangerous and everyone should train that. Or better switch to common name. So 5 instances. Here we go. We're already getting the certificate warning from certificate observer. And now we're getting the memory warning. And we remember, so Service Fabric now is the limit of the resource governance policy, which is 1 GB, and it tells us we are already 66%. We're using already 66%. So, good. That is one thing. So next thing, so you get also telemetry. So this data is also in application insights now. So you can basically set up with Azure Monitor alerts. You can set up SMS or emails so like with an automatic trigger to warn, like if a really important app is using too much, then you might want to activate some people. So let's quickly go into application insights. I want to show you the telemetry data, and then we will drive the service to the out of memory exception, and that's it for today. So first of all, custom events is let's check if we have data. No, we don't have data. Don't have data yet. That takes some time. You remember? There we go. All right. So and then I just want to show you the query I also have in my repository, which basically just, and you can create much more fancy, much complex dashboards. I just want to show you that we now, okay, we don't have enough data points yet, or we don't have the increase. We have data points. I'm missing a line here. Probably it's builds line with 3 data points, I don't know. Okay, we see the resource governance policy for the service, and we see the actual usage. So that is something I want to show. And okay, at the end we add some more memory to get the memory out of memory exception. That is what you really don't want to have. Normally it's not easy to produce such an exception. Garbage collection system is working really well, but as always, please do a lot of performance testing to ensure code quality and to know your next bottleneck. That's it. Next year I hope to do another video about the simplest way of deploying an Azure cluster, Service Fabric cluster, to do deployment or development things on it, and also another video to share all the best practices and the templates for a production ready cluster. Have fun!